Welcome to Anaconda's four-wheel drive bucket list series, the ultimate guide to Australia's most epic four-wheel drive destinations. We're Daniel and Bianca from Explorebound, and today we're exploring the Gibb River Road in Western Australia.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel.
And I'm Bianca.
And we've been travelling Australia full time in our four-wheel drive setup, sleeping in our trusty rooftop tent, living out of our canopy build and exploring some of the most spectacular locations this country has to offer.
We absolutely have, and one of those we thought we'd bring you along for today is a really well-known track in all of Australia, and that is the Gibb River Road. Now this one is situated all the way up in the Kimberley region in the northern part of Western Australia, and it has a lot to offer.
Absolutely, the Gibb is such an iconic track. It was on our bucket list for years before we eventually got to explore it. It's filled with epic waterfalls, gorges, awesome hikes and spectacular views. And today we'll walk through some of our absolute highlights from our time along the Gibb, as well as some tips if you're planning your own trip.
So the track itself is 660 kilometres of mostly gravel that starts just east of Derby and goes all the way through to almost Kununurra, and you can do it either direction. So we started on the Derby end and went from west to east, ending near Kununurra, but you can do it the other way should you wish. We also did our trip in June, so that was smack bang in the middle of the dry season, and that is the recommended time to do this track because otherwise you're more likely to get flooded out and a lot of places get closed during the wet season. So dry season's usually from somewhere around the late April, start of May, all the way through to sort of September, October, depending on the seasons that year.
As for how long to spend on the track itself, now you could get it done in a couple of days if you really wanted to, but we would not recommend that. You're not going to see very much at all. So we spent just over 2 weeks exploring as much as we could, and we found that was a really nice amount of time to sink our teeth in, not feel too rushed, and experience as much as we possibly could.
Really soak it in.
Yeah, now there is a ton of attractions to see as you make your way along the Gibb from either direction. Today we're going to focus on our 4 absolute favourites, the 4 must-do activities if you're planning your own trip along the Gibb.
So first on our list is probably our most favourite hike in all of the Gibb River Road, and that is Manning Gorge. Now this one is a spectacular hike and ends in a beautiful waterfall and a lovely spot to swim. It's a really great place to have a picnic and well worth the 5.5k return hike to get there. So to do this one, I would probably recommend you camp at the Mount Barnett Roadhouse or just out the back of it, which is a paid campground. You can just come in for a day visit, but it is a perfect place to start and end your hike because you're probably going to want to spend most of the day in this location. The other reason for camping there means that you get to do the one thing that we did and was totally worth it, and that is to start the hike just as the sun rises.
Yeah.
This gives you 2 really cool things. One is by the time you get to the gorge, you're usually the first people there and you get the whole lot to yourself, which is amazing.
Especially because it's quite a popular spot, so to have it all to yourself is quite surreal.
Absolutely. And the second advantage is it means that you get to beat the heat later on in the day when everyone else is coming through, because it can still get pretty warm even in June, July. So those are our recommendations, and the coolest thing about this hike, and probably what made it so special for us, was it starts with a little river crossing where you actually have to swim across a river and you put all your gear into a barrel and pull it across with you to float across. So you get to start this walk nice and wet and cold, especially if you're first thing in the morning, but I promise it is worth it, and it also means that at the very end of the hike you get to do that again, and so you get to cool down again. So those would be our recommendations, but absolutely worth having a look at.
Number 2 on our list would be to go up and see Mitchell Falls, which is a bit of a deviation off the main Gibb River Road up towards the Coolumbaroo area, but it's well worth the adventure. It is without a doubt the most spectacular waterfall we've seen in the entire Kimberley region, and definitely worth the trip. Now you will need a visitor's permit to access the Mitchell Falls area, and it's also a paid campground as well, so you make sure you sort both of those out before you arrive. To get out to the falls, there's a couple of options. There's an 8.6 kilometre return hike that leaves from the actual camping area. It's not too strenuous, but do allow a fair bit of time to complete that, and also spend some time at the falls at the other end as well. Or the more fun route is by taking a scenic helicopter flight that again leaves from the actual camping area, flies out to the falls, does a few rounds to give you a nice aerial view of Mitchell Falls before landing and depositing you to go and check it out on foot. Now we opted to helicopter out to the falls first thing in the morning, checked it out, and then commenced the hike back to camp. Although in hindsight, we probably recommend doing that the other way around, hey?
I definitely would. It got pretty hot by the end of that, so I think it's way better if you hike out first and then helicopter back in. I definitely do that way.
And then you kind of get the reward of completing the hike and then getting the waterfall at the end, whereas for us, we just kind of got back to camp at the end of the hike.
Yeah, we did.
But Mitchell Falls in general, absolutely spectacular and well worth adding to your list.
Third on our list is the Pentecost River. Now this is one of the best known places along the Gibb River Road. It is right at the eastern end and kind of marks the end or the start of the Gibb River Road, depending which way you're doing it. And it is a postcard worthy location, and with good reason. So this is an absolutely stunning spot. It is a massive river crossing. I don't know how wide it is, but I'd probably guess between 50 to 100 meters wide. And obviously, depending how much rain there's been and when you are there in the season will depend on how deep it is, but generally a pretty easy crossing, all things
firm,
considered.
rocky base that most four drivers be able to cross with relative ease.
Yep, so that's one awesome thing, is that you get to cross this river whichever way you're going, and as you're crossing it, you can get that beautiful photo that everyone goes for, where you've got the Coburn Ranges behind you as you're crossing this spectacular river. But the other cool thing is there is free camping along this river right on the riverbank, and it is hugely popular because it's such a lovely place to camp.
Some of the best camping you'll find in all of Australia.
So with that camping, make sure that you get there nice and early, and I'm talking like 10 or 11 a.m. early or earlier.
As early as you possibly can.
Yep, because this will fill up quick. It is such a popular spot to go to camp because it is free and it is spectacular. So make sure that you're getting in there nice and early if you're wanting that prime spot along the bank right next to that river. One thing to note though is no matter how beautiful that water is looking and how hot and sunny it might be, I would not recommend going for a swim, because this is a place that you are pretty likely to see some crocs.
Yeah.
And not just any crocs, but sometimes even saltwater crocs, and those are the more aggressive species. So probably safer if you just keep your toes out of the water and instead just chuck a line in. You might even catch a barramundi or two and just enjoy the atmosphere, because it's such an awesome communal atmosphere along that Pentecost River. So it's kind of a double whammy. You get to cross the river, have your fun there, and then if you're lucky and you get there early, you can camp up on the riverbank and just sit back and enjoy the scenery.
And finally, the perfect way to conclude your Gibb River Road adventure, or start it depending on if you're traveling west to east or east to west, is by staying a couple of nights at El Questro Station. Now this is a little bit more on the pricey end of things, and you will absolutely have to book well in advance to secure your position, but there is so much in that station that it's definitely worth checking out.
Absolutely.
So they have everything from their own private four-wheel drive tracks, spectacular lookouts, epic gorge hikes, got their own hot springs, there's a restaurant there, they do horse rides, they do scenic helicopter flights. They've honestly got everything.
Yeah, absolutely everything. They've also got really, really good amenities, including like, showers, flushing toilets and washing machines and washing lines and everything like that you need.
So traveling west to east as we did it, that was a nice way to kind of bring yourself back into society and clean up a bit after a couple of dusty weeks on that track. As to what gear you'll need to bring for your trip along the Gibb River Road, I'd say a decent set of four-wheel drive tyres and suspension is absolutely essential. Now the Gibb River Road is quite notorious for being extremely corrugated and full of sharp rocks that can damage your tyres. So just having those upgraded tyres will make a big difference, and also make sure you're dropping them down to the right pressure for your vehicle and the terrain you'll be driving across, and finding that nice speed that kind of just irons those bumps out and keeps you nice and safe and driving along comfortably.
Yeah, and to second that, that means you will also need a compressor to pump them back up when you get to the other end of the track. So make sure you got one of those as well. Another essential is communication gear, as always. Now, when you're on the Gibb River Road, there's a lot of other people that are generally doing the track at any given time. So having a UHF radio is a must, and having it left on channel 40 is usually the way to go, so that you can communicate with drivers, because it does get dusty and you will find a lot of people going at different speeds depending on their setup and if they're towing and what they're towing and etc, etc. So be courteous, make sure you use that UHF, call up people if you're wanting to go past, check that it's all clear, let them know, and use that as well. So those kind of communications are essential, as well as just your regular things like either having a Starlink or a personal locator beacon, your PLB, just in case something goes astray or you get lost or you get stranded somewhere. It's always handy to have one of those in your more remote areas, which the Gibb River Road is definitely one of your more remote areas.
As always, with any outback travel, make sure you've got your first aid kits and your snakebite kits with you at all times, not just in your vehicle, but on your person as you make your way through some gorges. So we actually saw a couple of snakes as we made our way along the Gibb River Road, which was definitely a big reminder to us to always have those snakebite kits handy.
Next up is fuel. Now it is a remote location, so the more fuel you have, the better. In saying that, there are a few spots along the Gibb River Road that you can top up on fuel. However, I just wouldn't rely on those because being a remote location, things happen. Sometimes the fuel truck doesn't get there. We actually saw the fuel truck bogged in one part of the Gibb River Road. So we run a 133 litre long range fuel tank on the D-Max, but in saying that, we still filled up as often as we could. And a similar story when it comes to water. So make sure that you've got enough to get you through your whole trip because it's not going to be guaranteed in those locations. I'm pretty sure we carried 100 litres of water with us at the time, and we did top up one of our jerry cans at Mount Barnett, so halfway-ish. But then by the time we got to the end of the Gibb, we still had 20 litres left over. So I think it worked out that we used almost 100 litres exactly for our full 2.5-week trip.
It's also important to bring a collection of tools for your vehicle. A tyre repair kit and a snorkel pre-filter is also a good idea to prevent all that dust from getting into your main filter. Well, that was our brief run through of the Gibb River Road in the Kimberley region of WA. It's honestly such an epic adventure filled with spectacular waterfalls, beautiful gorge hikes and amazing views, and it's definitely worthy of a place on your four-wheel drive bucket list. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Happy camping!
Thanks for joining us on this adventure, and remember, Anaconda has everything you need to gear up for your own off-road trip. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to Anaconda's channel so you don't miss the next stop on our four-wheel drive bucket list.